Hello everyone, Danny here, and welcome to the next episode or the next training video with the idea of just giving you some new information, some tools and strategies to help you become more aware of what's going on in your life and to help you get some clarity in order to help you move forwards. So we're going to go on to a topic today that again people sometimes find a little bit challenging to process. So let's see how you get on with it. This usually creates a nice discussion, so I'd love to get involved with you in that. So the idea is we're covering the subject called polarized emotions. Okay, so polarized emotions is when we're hoping to get only one side of something. Okay, so if we were to take the easiest and most obvious example, okay, definitely the most obvious one. So a lot of people, when I ask them what would they like or what is it that they want out of life, they'll say, all I want is to just be happy. That's all I want, to just be happy. Okay, so when they're going for that, if we think this is a spectrum, happy to sad, when the goal is to only be happy, then essentially you're moving forwards and you're trying to get only one side. Because the reality of it is that every single event, every single thing in this universe has two sides. Everything has two sides. And when you only strive to get one of them, the opposite or the counter pair will give you a big slap in the face to let you know it's there. So what often happens is for people who are searching just for happiness and they want to just delete and reject all sadness, end up attracting and experiencing moments and events that bring sadness. But because they don't want it, they want to push it away, they view that as being awful, or they view that as being just incredibly painful. Whereas when we're in a centered position, so when we're in a balanced position, and we know that happiness and sadness both occur, they are both in each and every situation, then what happens is we no longer try to avoid sadness and happiness. We just accept that everything has two sides. And when we accept that everything has two sides, neither one of them has this charge or this hold over us, which means we're then free to choose what we want to do, knowing that there's going to be positives to it, there's going to be negatives to it. And that means that we're then in control. We're mastering the choices that we take. We're in control of our actions. We're aware of the outcomes. Have you, for example, ever been to an event or an incident where you thought was only going to be happy? You thought in your mind, you projected it to be this amazing thing of pure happiness. And actually, when you got there and when you actually went through it, there were drawbacks to it. There was moments of disappointment or sadness. And because you hadn't even anticipated them, when they're there, they cause this heavy feeling. Yet when we transcend the polarized emotions and we realize that there will be elements of both anyway, you stay balanced, you stay grounded, then you make wiser choices, because then you're running your emotions rather than your emotions are running you. The second most popular one, positive thinking. I just have to think positive. I just need to be positive. I just need to stop everything negative. I just need to get rid of it. Out of all the positive thoughts and actions and plans you've had, how often is there still a bit of negativity there? How often does it still show up? Yeah, all the time. Because you cannot get rid of half of yourself. So if you're seeking to only be positive and then never be negative, then you're setting yourself up for something that's unattainable, for something that's unavailable, for something that's not possible. So then when you have a bit of negativity, you beat yourself up and you think, oh, I shouldn't be doing this. I should be able to be more positive. I should be able to just think positively. I should be able to do it. And yet positivity and negativity are just opposite ends of the same spectrum. So when you appreciate that there will be both positives and negatives to any situation, and you're aware of them either in advance or at the moment, or when you look back, then you dissolve that emotional connection and that need, and you stop trying to be only positive, and you accept yourself for who you are. You accept that, look, I'm a human being, I have both positives and I have both negatives, and I can embrace them both. And when you embrace them both, again, you can choose which one's more advantageous. Because if you only had the positives, then you wouldn't be able to plan for any negatives. You wouldn't be able to solve obstacles in advance. You wouldn't be able to look for problems that might come up. If it's the opposite way around, and all you're doing is focusing on the negatives and you're avoiding any positives, then you'll get stuck in that negativity and you won't be able to see any of the positives. So either way, it just doesn't end up very well for you. So I actually, there's a couple of techniques and strategies that I use like in coaching sessions that actually give you the tools to identify both the positives and the negatives in any situation, any trait, any person, so that we can bring those polarized emotions that might start here and just bring them to balance. When they're in balance, you experience a moment of appreciation because you can appreciate that both sides are there, nothing's missing. And then when you reach that state of grace and that state of gratitude, then you'll make the wisest decisions. Okay, so it's a challenging topic. It's not something that is promoted everywhere. It doesn't necessarily get the most glamorous of feedback and views, because it's a lot easier to have the fantasy of always being happy and always being positive than actually the reality of that sometimes there's positives, sometimes there's negatives. Sometimes I'm happy, sometimes I'm sad. And yet when I know both, and I know they're both present, neither of them runs me. And when they don't run me, that leaves space for something really interesting. Because when you're in this balanced place and you can see both sides, then you're present. You're fully present in the moment, not thinking about one side or the other. You become more inspired. You can see the negatives and you can plan for them or objectively think about them and appreciate them for the benefits that they have. And you can think about the positives. You can think about what you're going to get from it, what you're going to gain from it. So when you've got both, they lead to inspired action. Okay, so we've got present, we've got inspired. Enthusiasm. When you're present and when you're inspired and you can see both sides, you're enthused and you have energy and focus and productivity to move forwards because you're aware of all the variables. You have a moment where you can see balance. So we've got this presence, we've got this inspiration, we've got this enthusiasm. And all that leads to is a feeling of certainty. And human beings absolutely love and crave certainty. When you know what's going to happen, and you know in your body whatever's going to happen, you can deal with it, and you're certain about it, anxieties, negative self-talk in terms of beating yourself up stops because you are fully certain that you can deal with it. You know that there's going to be negatives and you know you can deal with them. You know there's going to be positives and you know you can deal with them. So that allows you to feel certain that you have the resources you need to deal with whatever comes up. And your options, I'll put it to you or invite you to think about, is you can search for just being happy, or you can search for just being a positive thinker, and check your life. Is there evidence that there's still sadness there? Is there evidence that there's still negativity there? Or you can start to take this more balanced approach that's maybe a little bit less glamorous, but you can be more present, you can be more inspired, you can be more enthusiastic, and you'll have certainty. So I appreciate this is an interesting topic. I don't expect everyone to agree with me. It's just from the learnings that I've taken on board and from the tests that I've done given that learning. And I'd love to know what you think and where your questions are. All right, so I'll call it a day for there, and I'll speak to you soon. Bye.